Hi, welcome to the feature showcase. Today we are going to show you how you can use personas to 10x your productivity on Wielded. Now, before we start, what are personas? Personas are actually, you can think of it as chatbots, individual chatbots by itself. You can think of it as an AI application on an app store itself, right? Or for those of you who are familiar with ChatGPT, right? It's also can be thought of as a GPT on that platform there. But instead of telling you what are they, I'm going to show you a demo of personas in action in Wielded and how I use it day to day. First up, let's take a look at this persona over here on front-end engineering context for multiple tasks, right? So over here, I'm going to look for my front-end engineering personas, and I'm just getting it to, write for me a job description for to hire a junior front-end engineer. So what happens is that the persona actually has the context of the startup, right, as well as the technology that is driving the front-end applications. So based on that, right, it's capable of writing information about my startup. It's capable of writing basically the responsibilities and the skills required over here. So these are all very specific to me. So if I had repeated this prompt without the context, right, it is not able to come up with all of these terms, and I would have to probably do a lot of adjustments after a templated job description has been put out there. So another demonstration. So I'm going to use the exact same persona, right, the front-end engineering persona, and this time instead of asking it to write for me a job description, I'm like, okay, can you write the code for me for a contact form? Right, so immediately, because it knows the technology that I'm using and the coding styles that I've adopted, it's capable of just jumping right into the code to actually print out what is required for me to implement a contact form on my website. Right, so you can see this is one way that I can use persona for multiple different kind of tasks. Right, the next one, right, I'm going to show you a bot, right, an application that I can use to write investors update, right? So I'm going to start off a new chat, right? And this time I'm going to say investor update. So for people who are performing tasks regularly, for instance, this is perhaps once a month or once per quarter, or in certain cases for content writing it's once a day, right? You can actually change that into a persona and have AI do the task for you in a repeated fashion, right? So over here you can see I'm providing it with some context regarding like growth metrics of the startup, right, and certain things like an ask to the investors, right? So based on this, it is capable of generating an email that I can send out to my investors, right? So here's key metrics, highlights and challenges, right? So you can see deployment has never been smoother. We simplified the process, financial snapshots. So we'll have to add this paragraph in, right? Certain things about founders ask, right? Request in expansion of our reach, introduce to your portco, not operating the AI field with a size of certain size, so on and so forth. So now I've got an email, right, written in a friendly tone that I can now send to my investors. Now, next one, I'm going to show you a bot for writing LinkedIn posts, right? So a new chat, right? So this time I'm going to do a LinkedIn post creator, okay? And for instance, I'm going to ask it to help me write something about the unit economics of your business, especially CAC on customer acquisition costs, right? So you can see I just gave you a brief idea, right? It's like 1-2 liner, and right now it's generating a LinkedIn post for me. Right, and you see it's writing a very interesting hook for me that captures the interest of my audience, right? So this is like, so I can use this multiple times a day to write different LinkedIn posts, right? There you go. So, right, hustling to bring in customers, right? So this looks like an interesting LinkedIn post. Of course, I can run it multiple times to get different variations of this post and combine certain key elements that I like to make it work for me, right? Here's another one, right? Writing YouTube description from a transcript. For all of you content creator out there, you know, you might spend a couple of hours every time post-processing a video, right, and getting it ready to be uploaded on YouTube. Or for those of you who are doing podcasts, right, you might be writing Spotify podcast description from scratch, you know, wondering where are the interesting sound bites, where are, you know, how do you do the timestamping, you know, introducing the host and the guest and all of that, right? But we can have you know, ChatGPT do that for you easily, right? So I'm going to show you another demo. So you can see this LinkedIn post is done, right? I'm going to show you another demo on YouTube, right? So what I'm going to do is I will be copying you know, a transcript. So this transcript is what I would get from my Loom video, right? For those of you who are doing podcasts on Spotify, you can actually copy out the Spotify transcript as well and paste it in, right? So by pasting in this, right, it's capable of like summarizing basically the entire episode of the video, right? And coming up with a description for my YouTube video that helps with the SEO, right? So people can find my video easily, right? It helps with the audience navigating the video, right? Because it gives you the timestamped chapter where you can click on the timestamp and go instantly to where that topic is. And you know, it make use of this real estate to kind of like add in more information about my company, as well as additional link that people might you know, might be interested in. Okay, there you go, right? So these are different ways that we can use personas. So here's another one, right? This is one for content brainstorming. So for content creators, sometimes you might experience a period of dry spell and you're just thinking about like, what else should I write about? What else should I film, right? So you know, one way I can do that is getting this content matrix, right? So I have a personas for content matrix where I just pass in like what are some of the topics that I talk about, right? Or I cover in my content, and you know, there it goes. It takes basically my instructions and you know, start generating a matrix of like how I can, you know, create content. So take for instance, like for each of this topic is creating 3 different kind of ideas. So for instance, like AI in education, like an actionable one would be step-by-step guide on integrating AI tool into your curriculum, right? And if let's say we are looking at metrics that are important to early stage startup, so we can have quotes from successful founders on the importance of metrics driven growth. Okay, that's interesting. And if you want to go something very different on mindfulness for startup founders, then we can write an analytical article on the effects of mindfulness on cognitive biasness in business decisions. Oh, right. So these are ways that I can use to generate content. You know, for those of you who create content, this could be really helpful. Now, another one that people tend to ask a lot about is also on information retrieval. So I found this PDF online, right? It's a 68 pages long document that talk about the Singapore National AI Strategy, AI for the public good for Singapore and the world, right? So it's a recent document that's been published. It is 68 pages long, so it's pretty lengthy if I want to read it by myself. So what I can do is that I can put the content into ChatGPT, right, and basically ask it for things like a summary, right? So National AI Strategy Analyst, right? So let's say I'm a startup that's interested in starting out in Singapore. So based on the information of the report, create a SWOT analysis for an AI startup in Singapore. So it goes into the report, right, 68 pages long of it, and basically pull out key information that that I could use, right? And you can see all these informations are from the report itself. So for instance, I don't know what is RIE, right? I can look it up on the report, and there you go. So RIE is actually Research, Innovation and Enterprise. So it's capable of just pulling out keywords and key information from the document itself, right? So these are certainly, from the documents rather than like it hallucinating from the internet or its training model. So personas are like that, right? if you are an analyst who's reading a lot of like say companies report and basically financial reports or legal document, you can find this feature rather useful. You can use it to query and ask the AI certain things. Okay, so that's it, right? As a summary, right? So what you can generally do with personas is that you can use them to add context. You can tell the AI about yourself or your audience, right? Or the format of the the content that you're trying to create, right? You can use it to create bots, right? We have seen examples of bots that I can just give it my input and straight away it goes into the output, right? Without coming into a conversational mode to ask me about things and adding a lot of like garbage into the conversations. And finally, in the last demonstration, we have shown you that you can use it to augment it with extra information, like 69 pages worth of text, right? So that's what you can do with personas, right? So for those of you who are interested, please sign up on the platform. And there is actually a lengthy guide, right? It's a 30 minutes video over here where you can learn more about personas and how to actually write them and leverage on them when you're on Wielded itself, right? And on top of that, there's also an additional resource, which is my ChatGPT prompt library. So if you head over there, you can see there are certain prompts that you can already use. So while these are all prompts, right, you can use it and put it into a persona so that it turns into an app by itself, right? So that's that. And to end off, I'm going to show you something interesting. I'm going to show you how personas can alter the behavior. So I got a monkey here, right? And the instructions is here monkey, respond to every message with sound that the monkey would make, right? So let's try that out. So let's get my monkey to say goodbye to my audience. There you go. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah. Right, thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you soon in the app.